All right, welcome everybody. We'll go ahead and get our Sherwood City Council regular meeting called to order on August 6th at 7:03 p.m. You could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you, everyone. Sylvia, roll call.
Mayor Rosner,
Here.
Council President Young,
Here.
Councilor Browse,
Here.
Councilor Scott,
Here.
Councilor Giles,
Here.
Councilor Stankey.
Here.
And Councilor Mays is absent.
Thank you, Sylvia. Do I have a motion for approval of the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Stand by, we're having some audio issues.
Sherwood is currently working on time travel.
Gen AI. All right,
Okay.
thank you. All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, council. On the consent agenda tonight, we have 6 items. Item A is approval of the July 16th, 2024 City Council meeting minutes. Item B is resolution 2024-056 to reappoint Amanda Bryan to the Sherwood Library Advisory Board. Item C is resolution 2024-057 to reappoint Elizabeth Fritz Kalazewski to the Sherwood Library Advisory Board. Apologize if I got that wrong. Item D is resolution 2024-058 to reappoint Zena Mays to the Sherwood Senior Advisory Board. Item E is resolution 2024-059 authorizing the city manager to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Consumer and Business Services for e-permit systems and services. And item F is resolution 2024-061 approving an employment agreement with Craig Sheldon to serve as our city manager.
I move consent. I second that happily.
We have a motion and a second. And with glee, I'm going to ask everyone if they want to vote aye to approve the consent agenda.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, council. And if for those wondering what just happened there, at that moment, Craig Sheldon became our new permanent city manager. Congratulations, Craig.
Oh, do we have a new sign already?
We will get one.
Oh, we should have.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll talk about this more at the end of the meeting. So thanks, Craig. Next item is citizen comments. Do we have any citizen comments? Let me check with Brad, see if any online. All right. Anybody else in the audience want to give comment tonight? Nope. All right, we'll go ahead and move on then. Next item is presentations. We have one presentation tonight. We are here to recognize a recent Eagle Scout Award recipient. I see him here in the audience. Jonathan.
Nope, that's the wrong one.
Wrong one.
No, that guy's getting his Eagle, that guy's getting citizenship in the community merit badge.
Oh,
So
I am sorry. I just assumed you were here. A little too young for you. Well, you know, overachieving. That's right. But yes, we do have a certificate of achievement presented to Jonathan M. Leroux on behalf of the city of Sherwood and Sherwood City Council. We congratulate you for your outstanding achievement of attaining the rank of Eagle Scout. For those of you that don't know, it's a pretty big deal to make it to Eagle Scout. It takes a lot of work, a lot of commitment, and a lot of volunteer time. So we will sign this, make it official. And Jonathan, if you're watching, we'll get this back to you. So thank you very much for all your work and your volunteer work around the community. Any other comments? No. Awesome. All right. Next is new business. We have 2 items tonight on new business. First one is item A, resolution 2024-0454, approving the ballot title, the explanatory statement, and submitting to the voters a proposed charter amendment regarding city council compensation for expenses incurred while conducting the city's business. Sebastian.
Thank you, Mayor Risner. Council, before you is resolution 20240-54. The origins of this resolution comes from the Sherwood Charter Committee, who on May 15th observed that Charter Section 37 was unnecessarily restrictive, having to do with council compensation. It specifically reads in part that council may be reimbursed for actual and reasonable expenses, and that this restriction was narrower than city employees are even allowed to participate in. Following that, there was a work session and a public meeting on July 16th to follow that. During the 16th, staff provided a first version of this resolution. Unfortunately, that version concentrated too much on compensation, and council recommended that the resolution is reworded to concentrate on the intention of this bill, which would be participation in rewards programs, specifically travel rewards programs that city employees are permitted to engage in. So you'll see in your packet, I believe it's exhibits A, B, and C, the track change versions between what I presented on July 16th and the current version that's before you today. Just wanted to highlight for council that the name of the resolution changed also to concentrate more on the compensation, the participation in the programs. If this version were to be adopted, it would need to be adopted in its amended version. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
I don't have any questions. I just thank you for rewording that. I think it's a lot more clear now as to what the intention of that measure is going to be.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that part of the other reason that this happened for those who are just joining on this is as a city councilor, you're not able to use a card to pay for a hotel room if you get points or travel, rewards or anything like that, even if you then get reimbursed the amount for and so it's difficult to find credit cards that don't have that. And even if you don't, it's sometimes more expensive to have to pay for it with cash because you're not getting the discounts that you would from a normal thing. So again, this is not it's to bring us in alignment with not only the city employees policy, but in some cases, it does actually save the city money because you're able to use cards that give you discounted rates and things like that for city business. So I appreciate you doing the work on that.
Thank you. And just, for those listening that maybe haven't been following this, very engaging and amazing story over the last year, just as a reminder, everyone sitting up here, your mayor and your councilors are all volunteers. We do not get compensated or paid for these positions. This is truly just to make sure that our charter is aligned with state law and even Supreme Court precedent around airline points and cards and stuff like that go to the employees, not the employer. So did I get that wrong, Sebastian?
The emphasis of this was really the Oregon Ethics Commission's opinion concerning the use of those programs. So we wanted to address that. They specifically indicate that this sort of program is permitted as part of a compensation package, which is what we're achieving today.
Right, exactly. So this just lines us up with every other organization. So, all right. Thank you. Any other questions or concerns? Thoughts? Do I have a motion?
I move to approve resolution 2024-054 as amended and now titled approving ballot title and explanatory statement and submitting to the voters a proposed charter amendment regarding council compensation for expenses incurred while conducting the city's business, including exhibits 1 and 2 as amended.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving resolution 2024-054, approving ballot title and explanatory statement and submitting to the voters a proposed charter amendment regarding council compensation for expenses incurred while conducting the city's business, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, council. Our second item under new business is resolution 2024-060, declaring the need to regulate and preserve on-street parking in response to state mandated climate-friendly and equitable community regulations. Joy, or no, you're not Joy.
No, I'm not Joy. I'm standing in for Joy on this one.
Awesome.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Sean Conrad, Planning Manager, Community Development Department. Before you tonight, for your consideration, is Resolution 2024-060, preserving on-street parking in response to climate-friendly and equitable community regulations, hereinafter referred to as CFEC. Just a brief background for the council. The city of Sherwood has been required to reduce, in some cases remove, parking regulations in certain areas of the city to comply with State of Oregon's CFEC regulations. The city reserves the right to create and enforce on-street parking restrictions on city streets, immediately adjacent to subject properties to reduce parking regulations. The Sherwood Municipal Code, section 10-08070, subsection C, allows the city to establish parking districts if necessary. The Sherwood community has different expectations for parking in certain areas of the city. For areas of the city with reduced parking regulations due to CFEC, the parking standards in Exhibit 1 of the attached Resolution 2024-060 are recommended for all new development types. Exhibit 1, as shown, may be updated by staff from time to time to reflect community expectations for off-street parking. So on the screen now, you're seeing Exhibit 1. This is recommended off-street parking standards. And I would note for council that the recommended off-street parking standards you're seeing in Exhibit 1 reflect the minimum parking standards already in the code under Table 1 of Section 16.94.020. So in conclusion, staff recommends that the City Council adopt the proposed resolution declaring the need to regulate and preserve on-street parking in response to state-mandated CFEC regulations. And just a closing note, if council does adopt the resolution, it's likely staff will come back at a future time to update you and have you consider changes to the parking district standards contained in section 10.08.070 to better reflect the resolution that's before you today.
Great, thank you. And for those listening, just to add a little bit here, Salem in their infinite wisdom has been imposing more and more restrictions on land use and parking requirements. This is part of what you're seeing here today. We've, as a city and in the League of Oregon Cities, lobbied pretty hard against preemption of local control, but sometimes we win those battles, sometimes we lose those battles, and this is why we're having to change this code here tonight. So, any questions? Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Do I have a motion?
I move resolution 2024-060, declaring the need to regulate and preserve on-street parking in response to state mandated climate-friendly and equitable community regulations.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving resolution 2024-060, declaring the need to regulate and preserve on-street parking in response to state mandated climate-friendly and equitable community regulations, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, council. All right. Next item on the agenda is public hearings, and we have one item tonight. Sylvia, do you want to read us in?
The Sherwood City Council will hold a public hearing this evening to receive testimony on ordinance 2024-002, amending sections of the Sherwood Zoning and Community Development Code and adopting chapters 3.40 and 5.36 of the Sherwood Municipal Code for climate-friendly and equitable communities rules. The public hearing this evening will be conducted as follows. The staff will present a staff report, questions, if any, by the council for staff. We will then receive written testimony. We will then open the public hearing for testimony, and the time will be limited to 4 minutes per person. Any interested person may present testimony. We will then close the public hearing and no other comments will be heard from the public. Final comments by staff, questions of staff, if any, by the council, followed by council discussion. This is the second hearing before the city council on this item. A decision may be made by the council at the close of this hearing, or the matter may be continued to a time and date certain. If the matter is continued to a date certain, this is the only notice of that date you will receive. If you wish to speak, please fill out a request to speak form and submit it to the city recorder prior to the time the public hearing is open for testimony. The mayor will recognize people who wish to speak, and any comments must be addressed through the mayor. When you come forward, please state your name and place of residence for the record, as this hearing will be recorded.
Thank you, Sylvia. So, Joy, welcome to the meeting.
Good evening, Mayor Rosner and councilors. Joy Chang, Senior Planner for the Planning Department. Again, this is the second hearing, public hearing for the Climate Friendly Equitable Communities, also acronyms of CFEC. So I just want to bring us back in regards to the background on how we got here. So former Governor Kate Brown issued an executive order directing state agencies to reduce climate pollution. And LCDC adopted climate-friendly equitable regulations that meet state goals to reduce climate pollutions, especially from transportation. The rules apply to urban metropolitan areas throughout Oregon, and Sherwood, of course, is mandated to apply these regulations. And our goal as staff and the direction from council has always been to try to implement these regulations to the least impactful way, as so we can move forward. And as you all know, we are also, we're part of the litigation with 12 other sued over these rules, and at issue was whether LCDC exercised authority it did not have when codifying and mandating the rules. So on March 6th of this year, the Oregon Court of Appeals affirmed the overall validity of the rules adopted by LCDC. And at this time, we're seeking review of this decision by the Oregon Supreme Court. And if successful, the rules could be found invalid. And the way that the ordinance, as proposed, has provisions that would identify that reversal if we succeed in winning. Some of the key elements of the CFEC regulations are reducing parking mandates for development types, parking reform near transit corridor, reforms in climate-friendly areas. We have a Sherwood Town Center, electric vehicle charging as far as just conduits, requiring conduits, parking regulation improvements, reducing the burden of parking mandates, and fair pricing policies. And we were granted an alternative date of implementation to September 14th, 2024. At the last council meeting, there was a question requiring single-family homes to have EV charging conduits in garages. Councilor Giles pointed that out. I do want to let you know that we did talk to our building official, but also our electrical inspector through Washington County, because we contract with the county for our electrical permits. Definitely, they're not required as part of the CFEC rule amendments as proposed, as I indicated before. They're not even required by state EV statutes. But the great part is, at least the building inspector indicated that many of the Sherwood developers are already voluntarily putting them in their design or offering them as options to the new homeowners. So I'm pretty sure, tune in that there may be something in the future in regards to at least having conduits available for these new homes as they're getting constructed, but they're currently not in state statutes. And then the other topic that was brought up was regulating and preserving on-street parking in response to state mandated CFEC rules. And we just heard that from our planning manager. So, and you guys have just adopted that. So we have another mechanism in trying to preserve our on-street parking within our community. This is just a slide of the applicable criteria for a plan amendment, and as stated within the staff report and the findings, all of the requirements have been satisfied as written. Community comments, we received one written comments from Ms. Nasta and she also testified in person in the Planning Commission hearing. We also heard from one person from your last meeting, from Mr. Long. And he also voices concerns in regards to these regulations and the state's overreach. Additional testimony is always welcome during the public hearing tonight. Staff recommendation is based on findings and applicable code criteria. Staff is recommending council approve the proposed text amendments for CFAC regulations under ordinance 2024-002. That concludes my staff report and can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Joy. Any questions for Joy?
I'll just amend a little bit. So I talked to some people in Oregon who write the model code that we follow. And they said that they were proposing it for 2025, which means it may be in for 2026. It was one of those things where it's like a 3-year timeline kind of a thing, but for the electrical vehicle. And by the way, it doesn't have to be charging. It just has to be a 220 outlet that you could use for a power saw or an RV or anything, welder. Yeah. It's just, it's $25 to do it at new construction, and it's $1,000 to do it after the fact. So again, this is one of those things where maybe with a little bit of foresight, we can help save Sherwoodians money in the long run. So.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments? Joy?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
If the city council were to approve this measure, the applications that are currently in process will follow the old rules, is that correct?
Correct.
Only new applications will apply to this while it's in
Right.
effect?
Right. We can't move the goalposts. So any land use applications that are in or building permits that are in would be in effect the code today. If you pass it tonight, it'll be in effect 30 days from now, so September 6th. Any application after that date, these regulations would be applied.
I just want to thank staff for the quick turnaround on the preserving the on-street parking resolution.
Yes.
That was something kind of thrown on you. There were at least kind of 3 weeks between our last meetings, again, an extra week. But anyways, that was fast turnaround and fast thinking on Councilor May's part to get something like that done. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Joy.
Okay.
All right. So at this point, we'll open the public hearing. Do we have any public testimony? All right, we can check online here. Nothing. All right. We will close the public hearing. And I'm assuming we don't have any additional questions for staff at this point in time. Any additional discussion? Yes, sir.
I would only, everything I had to say about this, I said 3 weeks ago. So if you're interested,
Reiterate it.
if you're
please.
interested, please refer back to that video, because I don't think I could do it justice repeating it again. Then no one wants to hear a repeat speech.
Encore.
So, but yeah, please refer back to that. But I'll just say that I'm voting yes for this. I don't want to vote yes for this, but the alternative is worse. So I'll be voting yes, and we'll go forward.
Thank you. Yes, your comments in our last meeting were great. I was thinking about this as Joy was giving the presentation. I want to be clear, at least for me, and I think that the majority of us share this opinion, we are looking for solutions to make sure we're being climate friendly and taking care of the environment. But the way this was done by the state in preempting local control, especially around parking, and we know we need parking spots. We see it in our streets every day. We don't have the multimodal transportation options or TriMet options to get people from here to the work centers, and it just does not make sense for the state to impose this one size fits all mandate across the state. So that's the reason we've been fighting this with the state. That's the reason we joined in with 15 other cities in a lawsuit around this. I just want to be clear, this is not about us not believing we need to take care of our environment. It's all about local control. And we believe we have the ability to figure out what those solutions are, and the best way to do that is to post someone in Salem. So that'd be my comments on all of this. And I would like to thank the staff too. for putting all this together, setting the code up, because I know it wasn't easy, so this would revert back to our original code if the Supreme Court rules in our favor. So I appreciate that as well. And just to echo what Kim said, thanks for the gymnastics and getting that resolution to us in such a short amount of time. I know how much work that takes. So thank you, everybody. All right, so we've answered questions. We've had a discussion. Do I have a motion?
I'll read, caption, and adopt ordinance 2024-002, amending sections of the Sherwood zoning and community development code and adopting chapters 3.4 and 5.36 of the Sherwood Municipal Code for climate friendly and equitable communities rule.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adopting the roll call. Yes, thank you. Sylvia.
Ordinance 2024-002, amending sections of the Sherwood zoning and community development code and adopting chapters 3.40 and 5.36 of the Sherwood Municipal Code for climate friendly and equitable communities rules. Counselor Stankey, how do you vote?
Yay.
Counselor Giles,
Yay.
Counselor Scott,
Begrudgingly, yes.
Counselor Browse,
Yes.
Council President Young,
Aye.
Mayor Rosner.
I was going to say the same thing, but so I will say I'll hold my nose and vote yes.
Thank you.
All right, ordinance passes. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, Joy, for the presentation. And we will move on to city manager report. And notice I said city manager, not city manager pro.
Yay.
So tonight, just a reminder, tomorrow night's the last Music on the Green. I'm being told classic rock. And then movies in the park start at Stella Olson this Friday. Entertainment starts at 7:30. The movies start around 8:30 or dusk. And I believe it's Kung Panda 4. Kung Fu Panda 4.
There's 4 Kung Fu Panda.
Really?
Kids are too old, Doug.
And then I just want to thank each one of you. It's been fun working with you the last 6, 7, 8, whatever it's been, 7 months.
Bad news or something?
No, but really moving forward, I just, it's been great. But moving forward, I just jotted some notes down over the weekend, and I'm honored and excited to take on this new role. And I look forward to continuing to work with the talented team Sherwood has, as well as the community, to build on our successes and address the challenges ahead, because we do have challenges. Together, we will collaborate to enhance the quality of life for our residents and businesses. So I just want to thank you again for giving me the opportunity. I stepped into this role the end of November. I didn't have it on my plate. This was going to be a full-time gig, but I've really enjoyed it. And I just thank you and enjoyed working with the citizens. So look forward to it.
Thank
And
you,
then
Craig.
last, I just want the chief to talk a little bit about National Night Out tonight.
Seriously, it's not. We got it working. Yeah, National Night Out. So thank you for everybody that was able to get out there this afternoon. This year's been great because we actually had weather that we could tolerate in years past. And as you can see, thank you. And I want to thank Public Works, Rich, Harry. I don't know if Harry's here, because we were on the verge of disaster without the water working. And we weren't sure it was going to happen, but somehow they made it happen. So thank you for that. And please pass that on to Harry as well. And just to Craig's point, just the collaboration to make this thing happen, although it's a police event, all those tents, all the barbecues, everything, Public Works and everybody stepped up. They get it here, they make it happen. And it always seems seamless, but there's so much work that goes into this thing. So it's a fun event. I think everybody's had a good time tonight. So really just a good opportunity for us to get out and engage with the community. It's been fun. Can't believe it's here. It just seemed like we just did this, but we'll do it again next year. So that's all I have. I'm gonna push the button. And Craig needs to be honest. He loves his job until I call, and then he's
Thanks. That's all I have. Any questions for myself or the staff that's here?
Any questions for the city manager or staff?
Well, I think we talked about it last time, but I noticed they're painting the poles in Old Town, so those are all Looks like it's going well.
Yeah,
Report on that. or-
yeah, the report is it's going well. So it's on schedule. I mean, we got a little later start because we didn't want to start the week of Robin Hood Festival, but everything's going along fine with the
Okay,
project.
and I have had some community comments about the work on Oregon Street before Sherwood. It just seems like that road shut down a lot. Is there any, I don't know if it's Sherwood Broadband going out to Wilsonville.
I'm not,
Okay. I'll chat with you about it later. I see
Yeah,
a lot of cones out.
I can
there.
follow back up with you.
All right, that's fine.
Sorry, so wasn't it?
No.
Awesome. Well, Craig, thank you. If I could just gush on you a little bit longer. We don't get, we get a lot of chances to do it, but I'm gonna take it. You alluded to the fact you've been doing this job on an interim basis since last November. I have to tell you, it's been a joy working with you. I really appreciate the rapport we've created and how you manage the city and all the good work that's getting done. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. And, you know, as a council, this is probably one of the biggest decisions that we make as a council. You know, who's going to be the quote unquote CEO of the city? CEOs cast a long shadow in terms of culture and how works get done. And the shadow you're casting today has been great. And, you know, as we went through that process, I know I talked to a lot of people, a lot of your direct reports, and everyone I talked to was just wholeheartedly wanted you in this role. So that means a lot. It says a lot about you and your character, and I'm so happy to have you on board. So thank you. Anything else? All right. Well, thank you. Sebastian, did you have anything for us?
No announcements. Thank you.
All right, great. We will move on to council announcements. Last time I started down there, so now we start on the end. So I'm going to start with Doug.
The Parks Board met last night. I think other than the usuals, the highlight was getting to see kind of the updated concept plan for Murdoch Park, the Murdoch Park redesign. So they've taken the feedback from the community, from the council, from the Parks Board, and they've kind of taken the three versions that we've all seen and taken the best elements or the most popular elements of each of them and turned it into, I think, what is will be a recommendation, I think, coming our way shortly, but I'm pretty excited about where it's landed. I think everything's on the right track there. So we'll be seeing that soon. And then just let me, congratulate Craig. Very excited to have you permanently in this role. When we started discussing what we wanted to do here in the spring and into summer, it really was the easiest choice I've ever made, or certainly one of them on this council. You had a 9-month audition or
Interview.
interview. Yeah. And, exceeded all of our expectations, I think with at least mine with flying colors. And so it was a very easy decision to say, yeah, of course, why would we go any other direction? So very excited to have you, very excited to continue to work with you and really, we're fortunate that you wanted to take the role. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Renee, I'm going to mix it up tonight.
Another kudos. Thank you for taking the role and the great job that you're doing. A couple of announcements. The Housing Advisory Committee will be hosting a listening session tomorrow, which is the 7th of August from 8:30 to 10:30. And then again on the 19th of August from 5 to 7. It's an opportunity to weigh in and give your thoughts and opinions on housing and homelessness and what Washington County should or could do about the situation. You can go on to washingtoncounty.or.gov/housing if you want to participate in that. Chamber of Commerce Golf Tournament is coming up on September 6th. I think cities typically had a team in the past, but if you want to join, there's still space to participate in that. It'll be held at Chehalem Glen. And then one of the most favorite chamber breakfasts is happening on the 16th of August from 7:30 to 9:30 at Sherwood High School. It's an opportunity for the chamber, business community, and the school district to come together and support the school district. We'll be hearing from Superintendent Downs, who is our new superintendent. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Renee. Taylor.
Okay. So we met with the library oversight, or the library committee, no. Advisory, there we go. And I'm glad we got the new members assigned to it. There's a WCCLS survey that you can get to by going to that website. You can go scan the board out here. If you fill it out, you can get a $50 gift card. But more important than that, it really helps in shaping the future direction of where libraries should go and kind of what services should be offered. If you visited other areas, other libraries have good ideas. All of those things are asked for in that. So please take that survey. Even if you don't win the $50 gift card, it'll be very useful for the library. Additionally, there is a repair fair coming up on August 17th that, in fact, I just wanted to read a little bit about it because I didn't sign up for it last year. You do need to register beforehand saying what you want to bring to the fair. But if you have something that's broken, like blenders, coffee makers, jewelry, bikes, or clothing that needs a new button or a zipper fixed, you can come to that fair and you will meet people that know how to fix that, and they will work with you to either help you fix it or sometimes they fix it themselves with you. We do not want any gas-powered equipment, TVs, or microwaves. I think that's for legal reasons, probably insurance reasons. Anyway, but there's just a short little online form that you can find on the city's website to participate in that. We've got a school board meeting coming up, but and we're getting back into, oh, I don't even want to say that. That'll depress the children. Summer's coming to a nose. We got lots of time before school starts. Don't worry about it. But anyway, I think that is, oh, and congratulations, Craig. When I talked to all your direct reports, I even specifically said, don't worry, I will not share anything negative with them. I gave them total carte blanche to dig into you. And I got nothing but glowing reports of how much they've enjoyed working with you. So it's been really a joy working with you so far.
All right, thank you. Dan.
The planning commission did not meet since last time we met, so I have no news to report with them. I did want to highlight a volunteer opportunity in Sherwood here. The YMCA partners with the city of Sherwood to provide food boxes to the community. They're handed out every Wednesday. They do roughly 150 boxes each week.
Did you say they partner with the city?
Yes.
I did not know
And they're looking for volunteers for packing and setting up, as well as distribution and cleanup. Wednesday mornings, you can contact Melody Danner at mdanner@ymcacw.org or search on justserve.org on their website for the volunteer opportunity. And that's all I got.
Awesome, thank you. I just got a few things. Since our last meeting, a couple of things. A lot of the work I've been doing recently is related to the urban growth report process that Metro's going through. And for those of you that don't know what that's about or are listening, is every 6 years, the Metro regional government, which is another layer of government outside of the counties. It's very unique. It's the only one like it in the entire country. They have a lot of jurisdiction over land use. And every 6 years they come out with an urban growth report that does forecasts on jobs, population, and that stuff. And then that report gets used for a lot of different things, including potential expansions of the urban growth boundary. So I participated in a stakeholder group that got to advise the Metro staff and council on that process. And we continue to do that and work through that process with Metro. So it's really important we get that right, especially for Sherwood, because we're really working hard on bringing high quality jobs to the region, and we will make sure we have land for those jobs. And as most of you know, we do have a housing crisis and we need more middle housing in Sherwood. So that's another reason that we're working closely on that. So that process is ongoing. As many know, we have an ask into the Metro Council right now to expand our urban growth boundary around the high school on that side of town. Our goal is we want to get that planned and really set out what that's going to look like. That doesn't mean there's going to be shovels in the ground tomorrow. These are very long-term planning processes. It could be, I wouldn't be surprised if it's another 5 years before you see any kind of activity over there. And for that to fully develop out is probably another 20 to 30 years. But we have to stay ahead of this, because if we don't, it'll get planned for us. You know, that's part of how we're looking at that as a city, especially if you watch the beginning of this meeting. Salem has been putting a lot of preemption on cities around land use. There was a bill in the last short session that would have allowed developers to go around all of those land use processes and bring land into their urban growth boundary. So we want to stay ahead of this. We want to get it planned. We want to make sure it's compatible with the city of Sherwood. And we've already done a lot of work with the concept plan that we put together over the last, 3 years, I think, of work and making sure that we got that right. So we've been working really hard with that. With that in mind, we've had a lot of groups out, talking to them, getting them to understand what we're trying to accomplish out here. We even had the governor's office out last week for a tour. That went really well. So we just continue to make sure that we're doing the right things for Sherwood here moving forward. So that's been a lot of what I've been doing lately. Today, we had a fun meeting. The city hosted a meeting. The vice chair and one of the directors for the Export-Import Bank, probably it's called Exim, probably no one here knows what that is, but it's a state, or it's a federal agency. They actually run a bank and they help American companies who are trying to export to foreign countries. They do loan guarantees and loans and stuff. So we hosted a meeting here today with a lot of CEOs from businesses in the region and the director of that to just share information and make sure people understand that those resources are out there. And again, it's about growing jobs here in the region. And I think that is about it. I've already gushed on you, Craig, so I won't do that to you again. Anything else for the good of the order?
Did you want to let me go?
I am sorry, Kim. Yes, I totally, why didn't you hit me or something? Just slide me around.
Bounce around.
Yeah, I did that to myself, didn't I? I'm sorry, Kim.
No,
Go
it's
ahead.
totally
Go
fine.
ahead.
I just had a couple things. I attended yet another Sherwood police officer retirement. I feel like we go to a lot of those these days, which is good and bad. It just means that we have officers who stay with us a long time.
Mhm.
But we have this bulk that is retiring, but we have backfilled with lots of good officers coming forward, which if you've attended National Night Out, you would have got to meet lots of them. And all of our reserves were there, 3 reserves. 3, 4? We have 4, 3 were there. Yeah. Thank you to police department for putting that on. Thank you to the Sherwood Police Foundation who sponsors it with the food and the goodies and the drinks. And Kevin Bates from Symposium is grilling up all the hot dogs. Thank you to the GHD band who comes and volunteers their music. It's just really a fun event, and it was cooler this year. Kids were having a blast in the water. There may have been some water fights with some of our officers, or one of our reserves has looked pretty soaked. It was a lot of good fun. Also, weekend before last, we had not a nonprofit, but we had a group put on a Sherwood Music Festival here at our Stella Olson Park, Friday night and all day Saturday. I volunteered at that. It was a fun event. I think they wish they might have had better more turnout. I mean, they had some people, but I think if they continue to do it, they'll just figure out better ways to advertise and get people there. But they really had a good lineup of bands, and I think that could be a great event for sure. Yeah. And then last Wednesday, I attended the All City Staff Barbecue, and just to attend that and just see how happy the employees seemed. Of course, you're feeding them. That's always a good thing. And watching staff man the barbecues there too. And so thank you, Craig, and your team for putting that on and feeding your crew. So that's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you. Anything else for the good of the order? All right, well then we are officially adjourned and we'll go into executive session.